If you feel busy all week but somehow still behind, this video's for you. I'm going to show you how I use ChatGPT to get about 5 hours back every week without working harder or learning anything technical. Now, this isn't about clever prompts or AI tricks. I'll walk you through 5 workflows that will remove friction from the work you already do. So let's kick this off. Workflow 1. Capture repetitive work. Most people don't realize this is where the time is actually going. ChatGPT only saves time once you've identified repeatable work. So here's the rule that I use. If you do it more than once a week, AI should be involved. And this might include writing similar emails, rewriting content, planning tasks, maybe even summarizing meetings or getting ideas into first drafts. For 1 week, just notice patterns. Keep a simple list. So I did this task, or maybe I wrote this from scratch yet again. This reframes AI as support, not replacement, and you're reducing repetition, not outsourcing your thinking. On to workflow 2. Use ChatGPT as a first draft engine. This is where most people start to see time savings pretty much immediately. ChatGPT's biggest win isn't necessarily quality, it's about removing blank page syndrome. Anything that you tend to procrastinate on is a great candidate for this. So things like blog posts, sales pages, even social media content, or those difficult emails, maybe an email where you've got to reach out to customers to say the prices are going up, or maybe it's a complaint letter to contractors or maybe a colleague because the quality of their work is slipping. Anything that's difficult like that, you can use this workflow. I don't tend to aim for perfect, but I do aim for creating something that is usable. Now, I call this a messy first draft. I got this term from one of my first mentors, who was a copywriting mentor for me. Because once you have a messy first draft, then it's very easy to edit it. And that's much better than starting with a blank page. It also allows you to stay in control, and AI just really is there as a help to compress the amount of time needed at the start of a project. Now let's look at workflow 3, turning messy thoughts into clean output. Now this one is really underrated. ChatGPT is excellent at organizing, not just generating new content. I don't use ChatGPT to think for me. I use it really as a way of cleaning up any of my own messy thinking. I can just paste into it any brain dumps, voice note transcripts that I have, any meeting notes, or just anything that's a sort of half-formed idea. And then I can ask something like this. Here are my messy notes. Organize this into clear bullet points and highlight what actually matters. Now the payoff here is clarity and also less cognitive load, which means less rethinking things through twice. Now let's move on to workflow 4. Plan once and reduce decision fatigue. Now this workflow saves time in a much quieter way, but it's one of the most important ones. A lot of time is lost, not from actually doing the work. It comes from constantly deciding what to do next. And in fact, deciding what to do next is so important that people have written whole books on this subject. So I don't just use ChatGPT to tell me what to do. I use it to reduce decision fatigue. Whenever my week feels a bit busy or scattered, I'll do a quick brain dump. And the sort of things that I'll note down are things like tasks, ideas, any sort of loose priorities where I think things might be a little bit more important, or anything that's taking up mental space. Now, the other thing you can do is if you're using a product such as Notion, as I do, or a to-do list, you can just do a screenshot of that and put it straight into ChatGPT. Then I'll ask a prompt, something like this. Here's everything that I want to get done this week. Help me organize this into a realistic plan, highlight the true priorities, and suggest a sensible order. And the value here isn't just in perfect planning, it's externalizing some of the thinking, and then I can come out of it with a plan that's clear, and execution then becomes a lot easier. What I end up doing is less switching between tasks, there are fewer open loops, and I'm not constantly questioning myself about what I should be doing next. And finally on to workflow 5, which is repurposing long-form work. This final workflow is where the time savings and productivity really start going into overdrive. So instead of constantly creating new content from scratch, I focus on producing one really solid piece of long-form work, which could be something like a blog post, or it could be a 10-minute YouTube video. Something where I've already done the research and thinking to get it out there and created properly first of all. Then I can reuse that work across multiple formats. And ChatGPT helps me do that by summarizing things like core ideas, but also then pulling out the hooks and the highlights and starting to rewrite that content for different platforms. It also allows me to adjust the tone, length and structure. So if I've got something like a blog post, I could pull out the main ideas and start repurposing that for use on LinkedIn, or even for short form work such as places like Twitter. On the other hand, if it's long form video content, I can start looking at repurposing that for places like Instagram Reels and TikTok. Now, the great thing about this is you're not creating more content, you're actually getting more value from the thinking and research that you've already done. And this is a key thing to remember. You don't need more ideas, you just need to be able to reuse things better. And that's how small systems give you back hours every single week. Now, once you've got time back, the next step is using it properly. So watch my next video on planning a week's worth of content in 15 minutes using AI. I'll link to it here and in the description.